All right, so we got Chris Yelland on the line, energy analyst. He says reasons behind possible load shedding due to begin today is because Eskom is experiencing a number of technical issues. Chris, a very good morning to you. So the reason we're given is that there's a shortage of capacity. What's your understanding with regards to this?
Yeah, I think Eskom is experiencing a high level of unplanned equipment breakdowns. At the same time, one unit that's 900 megawatts at Coburg is down for refueling. This generally takes a few months to refuel. And the random nature of these breakdowns, when they start happening together simultaneously, then suddenly we're in a position where Eskom cannot meet demand and it has to go into load shedding. Unfortunately, the line between load shedding and no load shedding and load shedding is very thin. The public is not aware of this because Eskom is very untransparent about these things, and we don't realize quite how close to the edge things are running.
Look, no doubt, Chris, you would have heard President Ramaphosa mention in London recently that one of the greatest challenges to our economy is the dire state of this electricity utility, Eskom, which has a huge debt, severe liquidity problems, and extensive operational challenges. So I guess, is there a short-term solution here, Chris, or do we just have to grit our teeth and ride out this wave?
You know, the short-term solution is simply to improve the availability of Eskom's existing fleets. The problem is, of course, this fleet is old, it has been poorly maintained, and it's been pushed very hard in the past, beyond its limits. Yeah. And this makes it vulnerable. It's like an old car that you've been pushing too hard. It's in need of maintenance, and it's just waiting for a breakdown. And unfortunately, that's where we are. So it's going to require time and money to get things right. Unfortunately, this comes at a very, very politically sensitive time. Today the Integrated Resource Plan for Electricity is going before Cabinet. There is the Eskom White Paper that is being prepared. There's the medium-term budget outlook statement on the 30th of this month. And there's a Moody's credit rating review on the 1st of November. And the load shedding at this time could be the final nail in the coffin for a downgrade of our credit rating by Moody's, which will have very, very serious economic consequences for South Africa.
So governance needs to be strengthened, costs needs to be cut, plant performance needs to improve, but how important is it for the power utility to improve revenue collection?
Look, revenue collection is a big issue. Just at this instant in time, you can basically say that municipalities and people supplied direct by Eskom in Soweto, for example, account for something like 40 billion rands of arrear debt. Now, just to put that in context, though, Eskom's total money that it owes lenders is 450 billion. So, yes, 40 billion from municipalities and Soweto residents and businesses is a lot of money. But it's not going to solve Eskom's financial problems, even if by some miracle they could collect all of that money tomorrow. It will make a difference, but it won't solve Eskom's financial difficulty.
What about unbundling Eskom into these three separate entities responsible for generation, transmission, and distribution? Is that likely to make a huge difference?
Look, it's not going to make a difference in the short term. It's not a short-term solution. Unbundling could take several years to complete. And unbundling Eskom into three separate entities is not the final solution. It is a step along towards a fundamental restructuring of the electricity supply industry and the electricity distribution industry. So it is a necessary step to go through. The next step would be to create an independent system market operator from the Eskom transmission grid to allow non-discriminatory access to the grid. That's a very important step if we're going to solve Eskom's problems and its inability to supply electricity, is to bring in other generators operating for playing field. And of course, finally, there is to create a competitive generation sector and to rationalize the electricity distribution sector, which is dysfunctional at the moment. So restructuring is probably a 10-year plan, but you have to start somewhere, and the first step is to unbundle Eskom into three separate entities.
All right, Chris, that's where we'll have to leave it. Thank you very much indeed for your perspective. That was energy analyst Chris Yelland. All right, I want to